you've probably seen it where managers can be too focused on just the numbers.
The number, yeah.
And if you're too focused on the number, what happens to your people?
I find that if a manager is too focused on their numbers, their people begin to feel like a number. What are the traps that we fall into as managers when we get too data focused?
So you bring up a great point with regards to how, to me, this is a head versus a heart thing. Because I also think if you focus too much on the numbers, it can be a challenge. For example, when I'm studying numbers, or I'm totally operating from the head. I'm operating from my mind. I'm totally cerebral. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm in that kind of critical state of analytical state, I should say, not critical, analytical state. And if I stare at the numbers and I get anxious about the numbers, say I'm off goal on something, by staring at them and looking at them over and over again, they never improve. I have to get out of that cerebral head state, and I have to switch over into the heart state, which is I've got to take action. I got to move. I got to do the things that the numbers told me what to do. They tell a story. They are an indicator. I now need to go and take the action, because it's the action that is going to actually improve the numbers, not the studying of the numbers, not staying in that analytical zone.
Okay, I got you. So I have to dumb this down for me.
Okay.
So data can create fear. What we want is for it to create action. It should guide us.
Correct.
Not stop us.
Yeah, data can create fear. It also can create excitement.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it can create a number of different emotions. Always remember that it's the action that improves the numbers.
Right. Or keeps the numbers up.
That keeps the numbers up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about know thy numbers.
Okay.
Because there is a delicate balance, right? It's important to know your numbers. It's important to make sure that you have the data, because the numbers don't lie. The data tells a story. How do I, as a call center agent, service tech, salesperson, how can I make sure that I'm walking that line where I'm not too hung up on the numbers, but I'm also not ignoring them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to know where you stand against your goals. You have to know where you stand against your expectation. For example, if I'm a call center agent and I'm expected to be able to sell or to get a client happily involved in 30 MVPs or maintenance agreements a month, right? I need to know where I'm at. If there's 30 days in the month, there's 30 days in a month, I know I need to get one per day. If I'm at day 15, I should be at 15. Where am I at? So knowing, like breaking it down to what I call the reduction to the ridiculous. And in that example, if there's 30 days in the month and my goal is 30, I need one per day. So on day 20, I should be at 20. And just knowing that, breaking it down to the reduction to the ridiculous, breaking a big goal down to a simple daily target, you're on your way. Okay. You're on your way.
It's not a hang up anymore. It's empowering.
Yeah.
Okay.
If then I am too focused on the numbers, where all I'm thinking about, and because I have absolutely been there before, where I can almost be consumed by the numbers. They create anxiety inside of me. They almost create analysis paralysis, where I'm analyzing them so much I do nothing. And I wonder, why are these numbers staying the same? Well, Kevin, you're doing nothing. There is no action happening. You are just you are coming in and doing the same thing over and over again, which is and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. So I have to look at the numbers as an indicator, quickly put them away and now get to work. Now get to work. It's like if I'm driving a car, right? And you use the dashboard, right? How do you use the dashboard versus what you see all day? Like, I look down at the dashboard, I see that everything's okay. I'm going 70 miles an hour, whatever, 65 in the speed limit, whatever. I'm going 70 miles an hour. And now it's time to let that go and look up and live my life. I look down, I'm analyzing. I look up, I'm living. And you want to spend most of your life living. And that's, if you're looking down and spending too much time in the numbers, you're operating from the head. And you want to make sure that you balance that and operate from the heart as well. And the heart, once again, Amanda, is taking action.
Okay. That's a perfect metaphor, I think, for how to use data as a tool and not let it run you.
Yes.
I like that. Talk to me about the Oakland A's.
Yeah, they perfected this in the early 2000s. And there was a movie that starred, maybe you know him, Brad Pitt.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
Angelina's husband.
Yes.
I got you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was called Moneyball.
Yes.
And in the movie, they talk about the Oakland A's, which in Major League Baseball, they have the lowest payroll of any other team. In the example in the movie, the New York Yankees spend $200 million a year getting the very best players. The A's budget was about 30 to 40 million a year. So 30 to 40 million compared to 200 million. How do you compete, right? They can go out and get all the great players. Well, Billy Beane, played by Brad Pitt, went to work on changing the way that all the scouts and all the managers looked at performance for baseball. They went and studied the numbers versus seeing if a guy was 6'5", weighed 230 pounds, and could jump however far. There was a lot of the old school way of baseball was if the person was built well, they're going to perform well.
Yeah. It was like a perfect 5 or something.
Yeah. They have a 5-tool player or whatever.
5-tool player.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And Billy Beane and the Oakland A's totally dispelled that and said, look, we only care what the results are. I don't care that this catcher, and they had a catcher in particular, was overweight. We don't really care. At every level, he has performed incredibly well. So we want him. And it's really just going back to trusting the results and the numbers. Say all they tell the story.
So this is where you and I like to butt heads, I think, when we talk about like the call center and stuff, which is that it's the balance of understanding your numbers and also maintaining the identity behind the numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers are not why you exist, right? The numbers are not the end game. Usually.
Yeah.
They're not the end game usually.
Yeah.
They're the tool to get you where you need to go, but they're not the purpose.
So what you're saying is there were times that I could get too focused on the numbers.
I know when you and I when we'd squabble, it would be I think sometimes I'm going to give this to you. Sometimes it was me getting emotionally attached, right? There were things that I'd get emotionally attached to, and you were really good about walking the line of where do we make concessions? Where do we need to hold fast? But I know that it's the conception of what good data looks like is where you and I would tend to come to bouts. And that was always, what's the identity of the call center that we have? What do we believe makes our call center great based on, what we expect from our team? A good example of that is average call times. There are so many call centers in general, not necessarily in Wrench, but in general, that focus on low call times. I want to say Comcast is one of them, Comcast or Verizon, where they have like a 2.5 minute like that should be their average call time, and they focus on that. It's one of their primary KPIs. And it can be really easy for us to say, well, how come our call times are so much longer? Like, why aren't we working on that? It's like, okay, well, I agree that the number is high in comparison, but the identity of our call center is not that we want fast call times. It's that we want meaningful calls.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. You were so good. You were always so good balancing the numbers with the emotional health of the people in the call center. And you've probably seen it where managers can be too focused on just the numbers.
The number, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're too focused on the number, what happens to your people?
They disappear is really what happens. They're not happy.
Why is it that they disappear?
I find that if a manager is too focused on their numbers, their people begin to feel like a number. It's important to know your numbers because the numbers don't lie. How can I make sure that I'm walking that line where I'm not too hung up on the numbers, but I'm also not ignoring them?
You have to know where you stand against your expectation. For example, if I'm a call center agent and I'm expected to be able to sell 30 MVPs or maintenance agreements a month, breaking it down to what I call the